Lesson 3B, Parental Responsibilities. Teen parents, just like adult parents, have legal, financial, and emotional responsibilities to provide for their children. Parents are legally responsible for the care of their child. In many states, they must provide their child whether or not the child lives with their parent and whether or not that parent is allowed to visit the child. Teen parents, like adult parents, must by law provide adequate food, clothing, shelter, protection, medical care, and supervision for their child or arrange for someone else to provide these things. In most states, parents must provide these things until the child turns 18. If the child has disabilities or handicaps, support may continue well beyond the child's 18th birthday. Failure to provide these necessities may be considered neglect under the law. Could someone be a parent and not know it? Since pregnancy does not show instantly, there are many cases of someone fathering a child and not realizing the mother was pregnant. In many states, the father is still held responsible for the child. State laws try to keep the best interests of the child in mind by requiring the parents to take care of the child. Let's use Mike as an example. Mike is happily married. One day, the sheriff knocks on his door and serves him lawsuit papers. The suit claims that Mike had fathered a child 5 years earlier. Mike remembers having sex with a girl in his apartment complex the night before he was sent overseas with the military, but he didn't know that the encounter resulted in a pregnancy. She never told him she was pregnant and had had a baby. Genetic testing may be done to determine the father of a child. Genetic tests can be done by drawing blood from the father, mother, and baby to compare DNA. Cheek cells, bone, hair, or other body tissue or fluid can be used. Today, it is very simple to determine if someone is or is not the father of a baby. In the example of Mike, genetic tests proved he is the biological father of the child. It does not matter that Mike never knew that the woman he had sex with only once had gotten pregnant that night. He is still the biological father. Therefore, the law holds him responsible for that child. Let's see what the courts have to say about parental responsibilities once paternity is established. When parents have children and divorce or are never married to begin with and decide to not live together, important decisions must be made concerning their children. The goal of these decisions is to create the best possible situation for the child. Sometimes the parents make these decisions and the courts approve them. Other times the courts alone make the decisions. Either way, the parents are responsible. If the parents split up and can't agree on who the child is to live with and who will pay to help raise the child and provide for all their needs, then the legal system will get involved. A judge determines custody based upon what is best for the child. A woman will not win custody of her child simply because she is a woman, just as a man will not win custody simply because he's the father. The court looks at each case individually to determine what is best for the child. Once custody is determined, living arrangements for the child must be made. Often one parent is given physical or primary custody or the exclusive right to decide where the child lives. The parent the child does not live with may be granted visitation. Just because you are a parent does not mean you are guaranteed the opportunity to live with or even visit your child, but you are guaranteed the responsibility of providing for that child. Visitation is court-ordered permission to visit a child at specified times. Parents who divorce or never marry usually have to divide time spent with the child on holidays, weekends, vacations, and even birthdays. As in custody rulings, courts do not base their decisions concerning visitation privileges on the gender of the parents or whether or not they were ever married. The best interest of the child is the deciding factor in any court decision. If parents do not live together, one parent is often required to pay money to the other parent with whom the child lives. This money is known as child support and is used to help cover living expenses for the child: food, clothing, shelter, medical expenses, etc. In some cases, both parents pay child support to a third party, such as a grandparent, other relative, or a legal guardian. Generally, this support must be paid until the child is age 18. In Mike's case, a lawsuit was filed and he discovered being a parent involves many financial responsibilities. In addition to medical insurance and pregnancy expenses, he was ordered to pay 5 years of back child support plus interest. This added up to a lot of money. In addition, he will have to continue to pay child support until the child reaches age 18. Teens should understand child support can be expensive. In the eyes of the law, a parent's obligation to support their child comes before anything else, including band, sports, or other teen activities. The purpose of the child support is to make sure the parents are ultimately responsible for their child, not the government. In many states, the courts often order an employer to withhold income for child support. This means an employer can take money directly out of your paycheck before you receive it and send it to the court. The court then sends it to the parent or guardian who has custody of the child. This money is supposed to be used for the child's necessary expenses like food, shelter, clothing, and medical care. Unfortunately, the mother or father may decide to use the child support money to buy things for themselves and not for the child. Some parents try to avoid paying child support. That's not a good idea. Let's discuss why. So, what would happen if you did not pay child support? Let's go back to our example of Mike, the man who had to pay for a 5-year-old he never knew he had. If he decides not to pay, he can receive probation, be put in jail, be fined, and or have his licenses, professional driving, fishing, hunting, suspended. He can also be forced to put money in an account to pay child support. If he has bad credit, he might have trouble getting loans for cars and other things he might want to buy. Often someone who fails to pay child support will have to pay back court costs and attorney's fees involved in collecting the back child support. Working to pay child support does not leave much time for the other things you might want to do in your life, such as studying, athletics, choir, hanging out with friends, or any other fun activities. Supporting a child is expensive, and finding the money to do so can be a challenge. Consider some of the ways you spend money now: going out with friends, eating out, new clothes. The average cost of raising a child is thousands of dollars each year. What would you have to sacrifice to be able to make ends meet? Not eating out or going to the movies, not buying any new clothes. Understand that spending habits change drastically when there is a child to support. Some teens may feel that having a baby will make them more responsible or more independent. The sad truth is that most teenagers who are not financially ready to support a child, and having a baby generally makes them more dependent. Teen parents often rely on others for help in supporting themselves and their child. Furthermore, their potential to become independent, responsible adults is severely limited, since finishing school and having a successful career are difficult to do while supporting a baby. Having a baby will not make you an adult. It only gives you adult responsibilities, limits the things you will be able to do, and makes you rely on other adults for assistance. If you were a baby, what would you want? Would you choose a mom and dad with adequate education and money to provide for all your needs now and in the future? Or would you choose a mom or dad who has to rely on many others for your basic needs and cannot provide for all the things you want? The baby doesn't have a choice, but you have a choice as to when you will have a baby. If you're having sex, you could become pregnant. The financial cost of teens having children is huge. Teens 17 and younger having children costs America approximately $10.9 billion every year. 1 in every 10 births is to a teen mom. Almost 90% of these teens are not married. That means that most of these teen moms are single parents. Not only is the burden of teen pregnancy hard on society, but it is also hard for the teens and their children. Adolescent girls are more likely to deliver premature, low birth weight babies who are more likely to suffer from poor health. Teenage mothers often have lower levels of education, experience higher rates of single parenthood, and the majority live in poverty. Children of adolescent mothers are more likely to grow up in a house without a father and are more likely to run away from home. However, this shouldn't imply that all children of teenagers will get into trouble or experience these problems. It is just harder to raise a child as a teen parent. As a teen parent, a teen would have numerous concerns. One concern would be money. Without a good job, how would it be possible to meet the needs of a child? Another concern would be education. Would it be difficult for a teenager to fulfill responsibilities as a parent as well as meet the requirements to continue and or finish their education? Being a single parent would be another concern. Studies have shown that having a child at a young age makes finishing school, finding a job, and obtaining your goals extremely challenging. What can teens do? First, know and understand the laws. Remember that legally you must be 17 to consent to sexual activity. It is also important to remember that age doesn't matter when it comes to parental responsibilities. Second, make a plan. Set limits on how far you will go regarding sexual activities and let others know what your limits are. It is easier to make good decisions if you have already established a plan. The farther you go, the more likely you are to have sex. Remember, oral sex, anal sex, and any genital to genital contact is sex and may lead to intercourse. Third, remain abstinent. Don't have sex. If you don't have sex, you don't have to worry about STDs, pregnancy, or becoming a teen parent. If you've already been sexually active, renew your pledge of abstinence today. Finally, stay in school, and education is the first step toward achieving your goals. Staying in school opens up numerous job possibilities for you. Most girls and some guys drop out of school to raise a baby when the teen girl gets pregnant. The graph shows that your earning potential is severely affected if you choose to not graduate from high school. Notice that income almost doubles with each degree received. You may know someone who earns a lot of money and did not stay in school, but these people are exceptions to the rule. Typically, an individual's earning potential is determined by the amount of schooling completed. The maximum yearly salary a high school dropout generally earns is only half the salary a high school graduate can expect to make. A college graduate can expect to earn around 4 times as much as a high school dropout. School really is important. If you have made mistakes or poor choices in the past, it is not too late to begin today taking steps toward a positive future. Renewed abstinence is a good place to begin your journey toward a healthier lifestyle. Everyone wants to be loved and have a good relationship. By choosing abstinence, you are giving yourself the best chance possible to achieve this goal. Don't settle for less. You're worth the wait.